In the fall of 2008, I nervously stepped onto a stage at a little coffee shop in downtown Orange called the Ugly Mug Cafe. Armed with little to no experience in music, a handful of songs, some average jokes at best, and perhaps a shot of tequila taken with a few of my best friends backstage before the show, I played my first CD release show in front of a fantastic crowd of family and friends. I can still feel the residual effects of that night from time to time. The mixture of energy, youthful naivete, and a hope for the future with this new songwriting thing I had stumbled upon in my early 20s. This night often pushes me forward. We don't ever really know how or when our luck may change, or what types of opportunities life will provide. But fate threw me a bone that night. Not only did one of my best friends meet his future wife during that backstage tequila shot, true story, but sitting in the audience that night was a friend of a family member, a man by the name of Mike Teague. Mike and I had never met, but a few days later, he called to let me know how much he enjoyed the show and my first album, Oxford Street. Mike also said he was a guitarist and singer and would love to get together for coffee sometime and play some music. He also mentioned he worked with a great bass player, Randy Query, and asked if it was okay if Randy came along to play. "Bring the chords to your songs," Mike told me, "and Randy and I will learn them." And thus, the DKB began. A year later, I found myself working part-time at that same Ugly Mug Cafe, booking shows for them. The first show I ever booked was with a young songwriter and keyboard player by the name of Dustin Robinson. Not only was Dustin friendly and easy to work with, he also packed the house, and when he sang "Holy Cow," his voice. I used my best sales pitch after the show and somehow managed to persuade Dustin to join Mike, Randy, and I in the DKB, and the band grew. Mike and Randy eventually met a phenomenal lead guitar player, Jack Carlino, and invited him to a practice of ours. After a few songs, it was clear we would not let Jack go anywhere else. And a year later, Dustin introduced us all to who he called, quote, one of the best drummers around, Eric Behringer. And he was not wrong. The six of us formed a sound and energy on stage that I could only dream of when thinking back to my early years stumbling through chords by myself in my garage. But the band wasn't done growing quite yet. Last summer, before we began our rehearsals for our run of shows, I told the guys I would love to find a saxophone player to complement our growing sound. Randy said he knew a guy he could call. In the next practice, Bruce Gallucci blew us all away with his professionalism and energy on the sax. A few rehearsals later, we were ready for a summer of fun with this new, bigger sound. Alive in Costa Mesa was recorded live on a hot summer night at the Orange County Fair, just a stone's throw from the house I grew up in. We were not perfect from a technical standpoint, but as a band, we were together. We had energy, we had fun, we were lost in the moment of the night. When I listen back through the album, I can't help but feel that the moments the album captured were perfect. And that's what music, especially live music, is all about. A chance to get lost, to share an experience, to feel alive. As this album is released today, I pause to think back over the last 12 years since that first CD release show at the Ugly Mug Cafe. I have been so fortunate. The members of the DKB have opened up doors and taken me down paths I would never have dreamt possible. They are great men, fathers, husbands, and friends. Listening to this album in the midst of a global pandemic brings forth a mixture of emotions: nostalgia, sadness, happiness, and hope for when we will again be able to hold these types of shows. In closing, an idea I keep coming back to in my songwriting is the concept of time, how it escapes us, how we try to hold on to it, how time speeds up, slows down, takes us forward, and takes us back. Live records allow us a unique opportunity to capture a moment and revisit it. They allow us to bask in a shared human experience. And for us, the DKB, it allows us to reflect on a moment in time when we were together, perfect and imperfect, when we were, without a doubt, alive in Costa Mesa. I hope you enjoy the record.